Hey there. All right, I'm sitting here writing some things about crystals, and I wanted to come in here because I recently heard a crystal seller on this app questioning the physical benefits of crystals and saying that we really cannot rely on the historical information, the thousands and thousands of years of information that has been passed on. Okay, I totally get that. And I really appreciate the content that this person is putting out there because I do see a lot of made up stuff being said about crystals. So I'm an advanced crystal master teacher. I have been for 13 years. I teach the science of crystals so that you understand the spirituality. But here's the thing. When people say there's no science or evidence to support how crystals work, this is when I get fired up. It takes me a few hours to teach this in my classes, but I want to try to give you a really quick summary of some of the highlights. It's not everything, but I just want to give you an idea of what I teach. Ready? I got 8 points I'm going to make. Number 1, everything is vibrational frequency. You, me, your coffee cup, this air, crystals, everything is made up of vibrational frequency. So crystals oscillate, which means they vibrate at a frequency that is stronger than a human or an animal. Kirlian Photography has actually photographed crystals, and I share this in my classes. So crystals are oscillators, which are frequency stabilizers, and it's why we feel good when we hold a crystal. Number 2, humans and animals and plants suffer from high rates of entropy, which is destruction of the cells, because our cells are constantly growing and dying. So at some point, the cells aren't going to grow, and then the body or the plant dies. Now, crystals, on the other hand, have the lowest rate of entropy, almost non-existent rate of entropy, which is why they are millions and billions of years old. So crystals were here on Earth before any living organism, and they will be here if there are never any more living organisms, okay? Number 3, let's talk physics principles. Principle of entrainment, the principle of resonance. Tell us that a stronger amplitude energy can lift up a weaker energy or dominate a weaker energy. Between humans and crystals, who do you think is the weaker energy? So humans and animals are the weaker amplitude because of entropy. And when we come into contact with a crystal, we feel great. We want to touch it. It is not a placebo effect. When I see non-believers who know zero about crystals go and touch a crystal all on their own volition, that is a frequency exchange happening. They're literally tapping into the frequency. Doesn't matter if they believe it or not. Okay, number 4. So going back to these physics principles, humans and animals are 70% water. So Dr. Emoto and other scientists long since proved that the structure of water changes with frequency. You can change it with the spoken word, unspoken word, with intentions, just with all different types of frequency. And we know that this is true. When we talk to somebody who is so negative and dumping all their crap on us, we walk away feeling like crap, right? When we go to hear a motivational speaker, we walk away feeling awesome. It's a frequency exchange, and we are mostly water, so we're very influenced by it. Combine that with entropy, and this is why we are the weaker amplitude, because we are up and down all day long. We are not stable. Crystals don't fluctuate. Humans and animals do. All right, number 5, quantum physics has long proven that our DNA has these little antennas on them, and our cells are receptors. Our body is basically built like a radio. We can receive and transmit frequencies. That's what the body does. And so our DNA antennas in our cells will reshape to conform to a frequency that it comes into contact with, which is why when you are with somebody negative or somebody positive, you flow with that energy. Okay? So if you are in the presence of a crystal, you will become that frequency. And remember, crystals are a stronger frequency. We feel better in that frequency. Likewise, if you're in the presence of Wi-Fi all day, if you're working on a computer all day, chances are you feel a little exhausted at the end of the day. Am I right? All right, number 6. Did you know that the entire technology industry operates on silicon dioxide, or silica? Because silica is a semiconductor. Quartz is silica. Okay. So what you're watching me on is being powered by silica. Thank you, quartz. Okay. Medical technology, cars. I mean, so much is being run on quartz because quartz is a semiconductor of energy. We also have crystals in our body. We have silica, quartz lining our cell membranes. We have magnetite in our brain. So we are a crystalline body. All right, let's go to number 7. Let's talk about the crystal books that make all of these claims. Whether I'm not even going to talk about the spiritual claims. Let's talk about the physical claims that this other person on this app was talking about. Let me give you 2 examples of how I teach about it, knowing everything that I just said. Let's talk about carnelian. Carnelian is silica and iron. So carnelian is, in all the crystal books, they talk about how it cleanses your blood. It cleanses your excretory organs like your liver, your gallbladder, your kidneys. It's very strengthening to the kidneys. Yeah, because what do you think iron does? That's what iron does in the body. This body cannot survive without iron, and it cannot survive without silica. And that's the other thing that's in this. Silica is anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, soothes the body, helps us feel better. Okay, so I teach people how to safely drink carnelian water. Let's talk about amethyst. A lot of people talk about amethyst as the master physical healer and being protective. Says who? Well, let me tell you. Amethyst is made of silica and iron, just like carnelian. Well, why is carnelian purple and orange and amethyst is purple? The iron changes color depending on how much heat it is exposed to in the earth. So again, iron, what does iron do? Iron is like a coat of shining armor, hence the protective mechanism. And I actually test with my EMF detector. I test this up against Wi-Fi. Now it's also the master physical healer because our body needs silica and iron to be healthy. So you're starting to see where I'm going with this? So, depending on the minerals that are in a crystal, it'll tell you what the crystal does. Depending on the color of the crystal, it'll tell you what the crystal does because colors have a frequency to it. The low amplitude frequency colors are your blacks, your browns, your reds. Those are calming crystals. The high frequency colors are purples, pinks, whites. Those are high frequency because they vibrate at a high frequency and they lift you up. Now you know what crystals to pick. So when you learn how to work with the frequency of crystals and the minerals of crystals, you're going to start seeing changes. Pretty cool, eh? Because there is science. And I'm fed up of people saying that there's not. It may not necessarily be in a scientific journal, but we can take science principles and they absolutely apply to crystals. So my Crystal Academy opens twice a year, like late winter and in the fall. Unfortunately, my fall classes are closed for registration, but if you go to manifestedharmony.com or just like this page, you'll know when registration opens for the February and March classes. Because when you really understand how crystals work, it just explains all the spiritual stuff that people talk about. Pretty cool, eh?